Butler and Draymond, little two-man game. No cutter. Steph springs free and drops in a three. Zaire Williams. And how about Keith Santos flying for the contest of the night?
All-out effort, but what else is new with him?
Skip pass to Curry. That three is good.
It was a single digit when it comes to the deficit here, but you take your time, no turnover. It's always a good idea to switch sides of the floor, especially in transition. Everybody's focused on
the
Steph.
rebound. Here comes Draymond. Pushing it out to Curry. Catch and shoot three. What to do with veterans that have a lot on their resume is make them mad. And that was the goal when you were down 22.
Warriors fans, what a time to be alive. The Golden State Warriors just put the league on notice with a victory over the Brooklyn Nets. This wasn't just any win, this was a comeback for the ages, exactly the kind of performance that has teams like the Detroit Pistons terrified about facing this rejuvenated Warriors squad. With all due respect to Charles Barkley, Stephen Curry, and the Golden State Warriors are definitely worth talking about right now. The Warriors defeated the Brooklyn Nets 121-119 on Thursday, behind 40 points from their former MVP. This marked their 10th win in 12 games since trading for Jimmy Butler at the NBA trade deadline. The victory didn't come easy. The Warriors had to overcome a brutal first quarter where they fell behind by 22 points. At one point, they were down 27-5. But this team showed incredible heart and resilience, clawing their way back possession by possession. Let's talk about that Stephen Curry performance. The chef cooked up a masterpiece with 40 points on 12 of 20 shooting, including 7 of 13 from beyond the arc. He added 4 rebounds and 4 assists for good measure. 3 of those 40 points came at the end of the first half on a shot that defied belief. Even by Curry's incredible standards, his high-arcing turnaround jumper was something special. He received the ball near half court in the closing seconds, turned around without even looking at the basket, and launched a fadeaway from about 40 feet out. The shot went in, pulling Golden State within 5 points. What can't this guy do? Since the Butler trade, Curry has elevated his game to another level. He's gone from averaging 22.7 points, 6.1 assists, and 38.9% three-point shooting in 42 pre-Butler games to 29.4 points, 6.8 assists, and 42.9% from deep. The chemistry with Butler is clearly working. Speaking of Jimmy Butler, he matched his Warriors career high with 25 points while adding 6 assists and 3 steals. He was a perfect 10 for 10 from the free throw line. Butler hasn't been a three-point marksman for Golden State. He's now just 3 of 21 from long range, but that's not why they brought him in. Butler was brought in to be another Draymond Green, someone who can facilitate and defend, but with the added bonus of being able to put the ball in the basket at a higher clip. On Thursday night, Butler did exactly that. He worked the low block, caught lob passes, and got good position down low to create easy looks at the rim. The Warriors look like a completely different team with Butler on the floor. He's making the right plays for his teammates, limiting turnovers and elevating everyone's basketball IQ just by being on the court. Golden State traded away Andrew Wiggins, Dennis Schroeder, and others for Butler, hoping he still had the two-way prowess that wasn't showing up with the Miami Heat anymore. So far, that gamble is paying off big time. Let's not forget about Draymond Green in all this. The veteran forward dished out 10 assists against the Nets, constantly finding open teammates and keeping things settled when Brooklyn tried to punch back. Green finished with 7 points, 7 rebounds, and those 10 assists. The Warriors' new plan is clearly to flank Curry with 2 veterans who can facilitate and defend in Butler and Green, and it's working beautifully. This win capped off an exceptional road trip for the Warriors. Beating the Nets by just 2 points might not sound impressive on paper, but as they say, sometimes you just have to prove you can win. The Warriors did that in Jimmy Butler's debut when they turned a 24-point deficit into a blowout win against the Chicago Bulls. And they did it again in Brooklyn, tired on the final game of a 5-game road trip, playing their 3rd contest in 4 days. But the game couldn't have started worse for Golden State. Less than a minute in, Brandon Podziemski signaled to the bench that he needed a sub and walked gingerly to the locker room. He was ruled out for the game with lower back soreness. A significant blow considering he's a starter. Steve Kerr called his first timeout with the Warriors scoreless and trailing 5-0. After the timeout, Brooklyn immediately drained a three. It took the Warriors 3.5 minutes to score, and they trailed 18-5 at the halfway mark of the first quarter. Their offense looked completely lost, while Cam Johnson was getting whatever he wanted against Golden State's defense. Frustration was mounting for the Warriors. Down 21-5, Curry was getting mugged on an inbounds play with no foul called. When he tried to create separation, he was called for an offensive foul, followed by a technical when he argued his case. A few minutes later, it was a 27-5 game, with Brooklyn scoring 17 unanswered points. It was uglier than ugly, but Curry finally stopped the onslaught with a floater, and the Warriors started to play with more toughness and energy. Despite the early struggles, the Warriors finished with 31 assists for the night. They continue to be an elite basketball team when it comes to ball movement, finding open shooters, running sets, and working off the ball. Players are hitting teammates on the run for layup opportunities and free throw chances. The chemistry is clearly developing. Gary Payton II was another standout performer, contributing 16 points and 9 rebounds. He's one of the craftiest finishers around the rim, with incredible touch even when not looking at the basket. He can make quick turnarounds and flip shots up and in with ease. Payton knows the system, knows what Steve Kerr wants from him, and delivers night after night. Quentin QP Poole turned in another solid performance with 10 points and 7 rebounds in 21 minutes. He shot 2 for 4 from three-point range. If he keeps giving the Warriors productive 20-minute nights, with that kind of production, he'll continue to be a valuable rotation piece. Not everyone had a good night, though. Buddy Hield struggled mightily, going 0 for 8 from the field and 0 for 5 from three-point range in 23 minutes. He also had 2 turnovers described as careless and made some bad decisions with the ball. Hield has a tendency to give teammates the ball late in the shot clock, essentially handing them a grenade and watching the possession blow up in their hands. With this victory, the Warriors improved to 35-28 on the season, good for 6th place in the Western Conference. That's the final guaranteed playoff spot in the West. They have significant competition right behind them in the Minnesota Timberwolves and Los Angeles Clippers, but the Warriors have transformed their season in just 1 month. They're now only 3 games out from the 5th seed and 3.5 games out from the 4th seed. Everything is back in play for Golden State. What seed do you think they'll end up with in the postseason? Now let's talk about Jonathan Kuminga, who remains sidelined with an ankle injury. According to Anthony Slater, Kuminga is in the final stages of his recovery. There was some hope he'd return during this road trip, but he hasn't received the green light from Rick Celebrini, the Warriors' medical director. Steve Kerr shared some insights on Kuminga's recovery during an interview with 95.7 The Game. Kerr said, "There's no setback. The injury itself was, I think, more serious than anyone realized. And some of these things you just can't predict." That's one of the things I've learned during my time as coach working with Rick Celebrini and the performance staff. There's no exact recipe for these injuries, and everyone heals differently. The priority is having Kuminga at 100% when he returns. He's been out for over 2 months with an ankle sprain, but the Warriors aren't going to rush back a player who needs his ankles at peak condition to be effective. Kuminga is an incredibly athletic player who relies on his explosiveness and lower body strength to create highlight plays. Kerr continued, "I think as it's turned out, JK's injury was more of a setback than we realized in the beginning. He's working hard. He's working every day. He had a really good workout today, and it does feel like he's getting close, but we just got to do the right thing, and that's all that we're trying to do." The Warriors are taking extra precaution with this injury for several reasons. Not only is Kuminga a young player who will contribute heavily to Golden State's lineup, but he's also up for a contract extension this summer. He's going to command big money, and the Warriors plan to invest heavily in his future. There were reports that Kuminga would be available for Saturday's game against the Detroit Pistons, but Kerr wouldn't confirm this. He said, "That would just be speculation on my part at this point." The Warriors are being cautious after their experiences with injuries in the past, particularly dating back to the 2019 finals when both Kevin Durant and Klay Thompson suffered serious injuries. Since then, the team has been extremely careful with lower body injuries. Even without Kuminga, the Warriors have been thriving. They're 10-1 with Jimmy Butler in the lineup, showing that the trade deadline move was exactly what the team needed, especially with Kuminga missing extended time.